Welcome in to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville. We talk all things regarding the University of Pikeville. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, joined by University of Pikeville President Paul Patton. He was the 59th governor of the Commonwealth, serving from 1995 through 2003, and the first Kentucky governor to succeed himself. Governor Paul Patton, President Paul Patton, welcome into Where the 99 Lead.
Thank you, Andrew. You know, I always enjoy talking about education and the University of Pikeville, so I look forward to a nice conversation.
Absolutely. We talk about the University of Pikeville and wow, where things have gone since your arrival in 2009. You became the 19th president of then Pikeville College, now the University of Pikeville. July 1st, a first at the university. You become the first chancellor at the university. What will Paul Patton do in that role as chancellor?
I think I'll do more working to represent the university. James Hurley, of course, will be the president, so he'll be responsible for a lot of the executive decisions, like paying the bills and making sure we have enough money. That's what a president has to do. As chancellor, I'll be more free to talk to parents and students about the virtues of attending the University of Pikeville, talk to people that also value education about the value of getting involved and contributing, helping us do our mission. So I think I will be more a representative of the university and have more time to go out and do what I love to do, and that's talk about education and talk about the University of Pikeville.
Education has been near and dear to your heart, I know, but I would imagine James Hurley, when he steps into the president's role July 1st, he will still have your cell number. He will still be able to make a phone call when he needs advice.
Well, and he won't need that much advice, but I will still have an office at the university, and I plan on spending a full work week there, and certainly I'll be available whenever, but I'll get more opportunity to get out and talk about education. And it's really important. It's particularly important here in Eastern Kentucky. Let's be blunt about it. Our population is not educated to the level that it needs to be able to enjoy the full fruits of American and world citizenship. And we aim to change that. The University of Pikeville has accepted the responsibility for bringing the education level of our population up to the state and national average. We won't do that in 1 year or 2 years,
right,
but that's our goal, and we'll work every day to try to reach that plateau.
You've tried to address that challenge with the Kentucky legislature and the Cole County Scholarship. Eastern Kentucky students go to college, but they don't complete college. Bachelor's degrees is where we fall behind. It's been started. The process has been started, but as you said, it's not a 1-year process.
Well, our students do go to college.
Sure.
They do understand the need, but a lot of them want to go pretty close to home, maybe even live at home.
Right.
That's obviously the most economical way to go to college.
Sure.
And so they take what's available. Our community colleges do a great job, but they don't carry that full course of baccalaureate and other programs that a state university carries. And so while the University of Pikeville has that broad spectrum of courses, we are more expensive. We don't get the state support that Morehead or Eastern or even UK gets. So our tuition is higher than those schools. Now let me say, that doesn't mean that we're necessarily more expensive.
Right.
Because we do have supporters that understand that we have to give scholarships, and we don't get state money to give scholarships with. So people give us money that we pass on to students in scholarships. So I like to, when I talk to students and parents, I like to say, figure out what's the best college for you. Is it UK? Fine, go to UK.
Sure.
Is it Morehead? Is it Eastern? Is it community college? Is it Alice Lloyd? Or is it the University of Pikeville? And if the right college is the University of Pikeville, then talk to us about, let's see how we can make it affordable to you in your particular circumstance. There's a lot of state money, there's a lot of federal money, and then there's that private money that we can pass out. So any student in today's world can afford to go to college.
Sure.
Now, they can't waste a lot of time. They need to get through in 4 years.
Right.
They need to study while they're here. But if they do that, it probably will be the best investment that they can make. A college education, a bachelor degree, is worth $1 million more than a high school diploma. Now, when you go back in time to my day, the high school diploma was the gold standard.
Sure.
If you had a high school diploma, 90% of the people could get by pretty well with that.
Right.
But that was then.
Yes.
And our students have to think about now in the future. And today, the good jobs require a bachelor degree. And they'll pay $1 million over a lifetime more than a person with, on average, a high school diploma. That's a good investment.
It is a good investment, and I've talked to some of the folks in the financial aid department, and they tell stories weekly when parents are amazed when they look at the cost. They look at the financial aid, they look at the grants, the scholarships that are available, and all of a sudden, while there's a notion that University of Pikeville is too expensive, it can be affordable. And parents are surprised on a weekly basis. So if it is the college, definitely check it out. President, you've been a coal operator, county judge, lieutenant governor, and now university president. You've always said that the University of Pikeville has been your most important philanthropic effort. Why do you feel that way?
Well, of course, I was raised in Eastern Kentucky. My dad started, he got a high school education way back in 1920s, and he started out as a teacher in a one-room school. You could teach grade school with a high school diploma back then.
Right.
And so he understood the value of education. He got some college. He went to Morehead some. But I have observed Eastern Kentucky for all my lifetime. I have seen so many brilliant, hardworking people not realize their full potential because they just didn't have the education that it took.
Sure.
So I've seen the cost of not having an education. Fortunately, my parents sacrificed and I worked to get an education, to get a degree in engineering from the University of Kentucky. But too many people didn't get that opportunity and suffered because of it. So I've devoted myself to, as I could, promoting the cause of education by talking in favor of it and by contributing personally. I've been blessed. I've been fortunate. I was 20 years in the coal business in this area. I did well on the labor of a lot of people who were undereducated.
Right.
But they had children that needed an education. And so as I became able to think about sharing my good fortune with other people through the church and through Boy Scouts, and there's lots of good causes out there that we could and should support financially. But mine always focused more around Pikeville College, beginning back in the late 60s when I got in a position to make small contributions. I've been contributing. I've been on the board, I guess, started about 40 years ago, early 1970s when I went on the board of Pikeville College. And as such, I have contributed and I've asked other people to contribute. So yes, I realize the value of education, and I realize that we who have been more fortunate need to return by giving back to educational institutions.
I think you've been a great example for folks not just throughout Eastern Kentucky, but throughout the United States. Great example. We're talking today on this edition of Where the 99 Lead with President Paul Patton, former Kentucky Governor Paul Patton, as he prepares to move into the role of Chancellor at the University of Pikeville July 1st. James Hurley takes over as the president of the university, but Governor Patton will remain on campus, and we're glad that he will.
Being around those young people, I think, keeps you young, and it's really just a pleasure to be up on the hill and see them, see them blossom. It's just amazing to see a person come in there out of high school.
Yes.
They've been dependent on the family, and they come out there. They realize I'm responsible for myself now, and they start to grow and mature. And over 4 years, some of those kids, I mean, it's just amazing how much they mature in that 4-year period. And to be a part of it, it makes you feel good.
And it does keep us younger.
I think so. I've been around a long time, but I still
I think
don't think of myself as old.
I think
I'm delusional.
I think we hang around the students. It makes us kick a little higher too, just to be able to keep up. Governor Patton, when you arrived at the University of Pikeville, of course you've been on the board for a number of years and been a part of Pikeville College. And in 2009, you became the 19th president at then Pikeville College. What were some of the biggest challenges or priorities you faced when you arrived?
The undergraduate enrollment had gone down, and to run a college like we had been running and going to continue to run, most experts say it takes at least 1,000 students to have the kind of a comprehensive college that can offer a comprehensive program. And we were down to about 600. So the first priority, and that's the reason that I brought President James Hurley on. Was a middle school principal. He's been in high schools. He knows what these young people are interested in. And so to start with, he and I hit the road, traveling Eastern Kentucky, going into high schools, talking to students about coming to the University of Pikeville. We remodeled the scholarship program, made it more broad, made it where it would help more people. But more than anything, we sold the product. We had a good product, but you're in the media business. Your business is helping people sell their product.
Sure.
Well, that's what we did. We went to the counselors throughout Eastern Kentucky. We went to the students throughout Eastern Kentucky and told them that they could afford the University of Pikeville, and we might be the right school for them. And we got the enrollment up to about 1,200. Last fall, I think it was 1,220 in the fall. We believe it'll be at least that much this coming fall, and that's about where we need to be. We're not going to get much larger than 1,200 students. We don't have the classroom, we don't have the library space, we don't have the dorm rooms. We expect to have all of our dorms, about 840 beds, full this fall. And that's what we're concentrating on being, is a residential university.
Yes.
Now, we have commuter students, but even with commuter students, we want them to get involved in the university life.
Right.
A college experience is more than just the classroom education. Now, the classroom's the heart and the soul. That's the meat of it.
Sure.
But college is also this business of moving out of the family, out of that sheltered environment, out of that protected space, and from what I call being a young adult to becoming a fully mature adult.
Right.
Responsible and going out and conquering the world. And that those 4 years in a university environment, and this would be true of any residential university, is when that person should really mature and fully accept responsibility for themselves. And it happens every day on the campus of the University of Pikeville.
Let's talk about the highlights of your tenure as president. Record enrollments, we've talked about enrollments going from 600 students to over 1,200. New programs, of course, of study, new facilities because of the challenge and the influx of students. Some are required. A mentoring program, the Greek Life, national championships, and university status.
I always show my national championship rings off. It's a real conversational piece. This was the NAIA national champion basketball team of a couple years ago.
Right.
And then this was the women's bowling team national championship 1 year ago.
Right.
And those are good sort of icebreakers to get a conversation started and to emphasize that point, that there is more to college than the classroom.
Sure.
Just like there's more to college, there's more to high school than the classroom. High school is a process of learning to deal with different issues and different people. So, but the highlights, there's so many.
Let's talk about the national championships. You were a part of those.
And sports is a very important part of our program to help young people develop and become mature and become responsible. Now, we're not running a NBA or NFL farm team.
Right.
We've had some students go into professional sports, but not very many.
Sure.
The vast majority of our students will not play professional sports.
Right.
They want to play for the sport of it. They just like they do in high school. And you can learn a well-run sports program. You can learn a lot of life's lessons. You can learn to obey the rules, learn respect for authority, learn to try your hardest, work hard,
Failures may come during that time.
and learn to lose, and learn from losing.
Sure.
And sometimes you can learn more from losing than you can from winning. But in winning, you can learn to be magnanimous, because in life, those are lessons that you need to learn. You know, you may come up against a person in an adversarial circumstance in one place. The next time you meet them, you may be on the same side. So you don't burn bridges, and don't and learn. Athletics can be a great lessons in life. And about half of our students, about 600 of the 1,200 full-time students, participate in, I think, about 19 different varsity sports.
It's amazing every time I hear that, because half of the population at the University of Pikeville participating in extracurricular activities, more than at the University of Kentucky. And I think that's just astounding when you realize there are more athletes on campus at the University of Pikeville than there are at UK.
And they wanted to play in high school.
Sure.
They want to continue playing for the pleasure of playing. And they can't do that at UK, or they can't do that at Louisville or even Morehead. Although we're opening the football season against Morehead State University this coming fall. So
I'm predicting a win.
And we're opening against the University of Louisville in basketball in the fall. Now, we've opened against the University of Louisville. This will be the third year. And then the year before that, we opened up against the University of Kentucky.
Right.
And we're hopeful to play UK in the fall of 2015. Those are exhibition games.
Right.
But the Morehead game is a regular season game. But athletics can be a good developmental tool, and it allows us to attract students from outside the region. Although we recruit heavily within our service region,
Sure.
we can't get 1,200 students from these 5 or 6 counties.
Right.
We just can't do it.
It's not going to happen.
So by bringing in students from 81 counties in Kentucky, about 39 different states, and about 14 foreign countries through athletics. Most of those people come because of athletics. So that gives us the diverse campus, racially, culturally, geographically. And you know, that's the way the world is. And our students need to learn to work with people that are different from themselves, because that's what they're going to be dealing with in the workforce. They may end up in China, they may end up in Europe. We don't know where they may end up. But here at the University of Pikeville, they can get a cosmopolitan view of the world, and that's very important in a college education.
Part of developing the whole individual.
That's right.
And
It's
now
more
in
than the classroom.
and now in a global economy.
Yeah. More important than it's ever been.
Absolutely. Talking with University of Pikeville President Paul Patton, former Kentucky Governor Paul Patton, as we talk about his tenure at the University of Pikeville, moving to the role of Chancellor July 1st, and some of the new facilities and the new programs at the University of Pikeville. Let's touch on those, some of the things that have been highlights. I know the Cole Building is at the forefront
Well,
of
you almost
downtown
have to
Pikeville.
start talking about the Cole Building, because it's so prominent
Sure.
on the campus, and it's allowing our medical school to really become state of the art. The laboratories, the research laboratories, the robotic patients, the computer simulation, the telecommunicating capacity is state of the art. I would venture to say it's better than UK because it's newer than UK.
Right.
I'd venture to say it's better than University of Louisville because it's newer. So now we're a teaching medical school.
Right.
We do some research, but not a lot. But the Cole Building allows our medical students to have the best education possible. And of course, it does include the new cafeteria, which is very, very important because it gives us, again, a place to eat and fellowship that is as good as any you'll find any place. And that has freed up space in the rest of the campus for us to accommodate the expansion that we've experienced over these last few years. So the Cole Building is an integral part of what we've been able to improve. But over the last 4 years, I think we've went through every residence hall, every room has been modernized and painted and carpeted, and so our residence halls are as good as most any of the state universities, and that's very important. We've built a athletic facility that allows our teams to practice indoors in inclement weather and real hot weather. An athletic weight room, the hoops facility down by the gymnasium is again a state-of-the-art facility for these 600 athletes or so that we have on campus. Again, very few schools our size can brag about an athletic facility as nice as the one that we have. And just a lot of little things, computer labs, improvements in the library, faculty offices.
It seems the entire campus got a makeover.
We've tried to improve the whole campus. Probably the biggest need right now is what I would call a student activity center, although we did take the old cafeteria and make it into a student lounge with some activities there. But and the students can use the old gymnasium for basketball. We've moved our basketball program into the expo center. So we can provide a student with just about any of the activities that they would find anyplace else.
University of Pikeville President Paul Patton, he was known as the education governor during his time as the 59th governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky from 95 through 2003. We'll talk on another edition of Where the 99 Lead about his time as the education governor, changes in the education system, his time on the university campus, roles throughout education throughout the country, serving on various committees and councils, because we know that education has been so near and dear to you. Something else that I know that was near and dear to Paul Patton during your course as president on the Hill was Pikeville College transitioning to the University of Pikeville, taking on university status. We knew that it already had the programs of a university, but how important was that during your time on the Hill for Pikeville College to transition to the University of Pikeville?
Well, as you say, technically we were already a university.
Sure.
But we not only took on a name, we took on a mission to become the leading university in Central Appalachia. And when I talk about Central Appalachia, I'm talking about the surrounding counties, the coal-producing counties of 2 or 3 counties in West Virginia, 2 or 3 counties in Western Virginia, 10 or 12 counties here in Eastern Kentucky. That's the Appalachia that people talk about being underdeveloped, undereducated. We have taken on the role of being the leading university responsible for providing education to that 15, 16 county area in what I call hardcore Central Appalachia. And we are the leading university in that region.
Sure.
And not only do we provide college level education, we're educating the teachers that by and large populate the elementary and secondary schools in that region. Well over half the teachers in that service area are graduates of the University of Pikeville. And so as we expand our program, next January, I think, we will begin offering a master's in education. Now we have a very high quality bachelor's degree in education. In fact, we were evaluated by the state last year and found to not have one deficiency. We have one of the strongest elementary and secondary education schools in the state. So, but you know, teachers, after they've been in a classroom 5 years, have to get their master's degree.
Sure.
And right now, they have to go to Moorhead, they have to go to Richmond, they have to take an online course from Union. It's not being offered in this region. We will be offering a master's degree, and I think it will be able to start in the spring in 2014. And that's just one of the many services that we're going to be offering. As you know, we now have a Master's of Business Administration. Again, businesses need specially trained workers, are specially trained in certain business procedures. That's the Master's of Business Administration.
Sure.
And that hadn't been available in the region. We now have that available. We will be starting a Master's in Sports Administration within the next year or two. Again, a lot of our athletes won't play professionally, but they still want to be involved some way, managing a convention center, managing a golf course, managing some kind of a sports venue. So we'll be starting a master's degree program in that. Actually, our bachelor's degree in sports management, I think that's available now. So again, providing a comprehensive educational opportunity for all of Central Appalachia.
Absolutely.
And we're looking at some other professional programs that I'm not ready to talk about yet, but we're looking at, the medical school has obviously been a great success in every aspect,
Sure.
giving our students better access to a medical school, getting our citizens better access to highly trained doctors, and providing financial support for the university. But there's a couple of other professional schools that we're looking at that we're hopeful in the years ahead we could bring to Central Appalachia.
Stay tuned for those announcements.
Stay tuned.
Governor Paul Patton, president of the University of Pikeville, shortly after you arrived, you recruited a gentleman by the name of James Hurley as vice president and special assistant. He had been in the education field. He'll soon become the first alumnus to serve as president at the University of Pikeville. What are your thoughts about that, and what sage advice will Paul Patton leave with James Hurley?
Well, we've been a close partnership for the last 4 years because James is an educator.
Right.
I'm not an educator. You know, I'm sort of a lost ball in our weeds. I had to have somebody to lead me along, and we've got a lot of good people on the Hill. But James knows the high schools, the middle schools of this region. He knows what young people want. He's a self-starter. You don't have to tell him to do anything. He's a hard worker, and he loves the University of Pikeville. He and his wife are both alumni, and with his 2 young sons, he wants them to have the opportunity to go to the University of Pikeville if that's what they want to do. So the university is in good hands. I leave the presidency with no reservations whatsoever, and I'll be here to help if I can, but I have all the confidence in the world in Mr. Hurley.
One piece of advice Paul Patton leaves with James Hurley.
Well, I gave him advice about every day for the last 4 years, so
You're finished with that?
I've pretty well told him the things I think he needs to learn.
Sure.
He's a quick study. I don't think he'll have much problem.
You feel like you're leaving the university in great hands?
I'm absolutely comfortable with that. Matter of fact, Judy and I are going to take the first real vacation that we've taken on July the 1st. When he takes over, we're leaving town for 2 or 3 weeks, and I think he'll hit the ground running and not miss a beat.
Yeah, we've enjoyed your time as president. A lot of excitement since Paul Patton arrived on campus. We've seen growth. We've seen new programs. We've seen Pikeville College become the University of Pikeville. And Governor, it's always great to talk with you, and enjoy your time as chancellor.
I'm going to do that.
We'll talk again real soon
Okay.
about more higher education. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead with Kentucky's 59th governor, the president of the University of Pikeville. I'm Andrew Joyce. This program has been brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia.